Welcome back to the Go to Go podcast, episode 111, week 10 of the NFL season right upon us, man. This episode, we just got some classic week 10 pick'ems, man. Week 9, you were able to battle back a little bit here, man. Get a little 2 games in on me. I went 9-6, you went 11-4 this week. 7 games separating us, so it's getting a little tighter as the weeks go on, man. You made a little comeback in the season so far. But we're going to jump into week 10 pick'ems. Thursday night football, man. AFC North matchup. Bengals travel to Baltimore. They play the Ravens. Who you got in this one?
I like Baltimore at home. I mean, the Ravens are looking right on point, right on cue. Mid-season juggernauts. I mean, as long as Lamar, we talked about Lamar possibly being MVP and Derrick Henry being Offensive Player of the Year last episode, and picked up right where they left off last week against the Broncos at home. Both of them had some big games. So, yeah, right now the Ravens are rolling, and I kind of feel like I say this every week. You know, we'll see what they do in the postseason, but right now, if everyone's healthy for that team, they look like one of the better teams in the league right now. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Ravens, although Joe Burrow is quietly having one of the best seasons for the quarterbacks this year. He's on pace for I think 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns or something like that. So I'm sure Burrow and those receivers will put up some big numbers. This Ravens defense is susceptible to giving up some big pass plays, but overall, I just think as a unit, this Ravens teams will be a little bit too much for the Bengals, and yeah, I like them at home.
Yeah, man. It's just Joe Burrow's team literally sucks, so just put it straightforward like that. Derrick Henry's been balling this year for the Ravens. Once again, scored a touchdown last week. Continues his streak. I think he has 100 career touchdowns now. He hit last week or some crazy milestone. So Henry's still pushing. Talked about it. OPOY right now for the both of us. And Lamar obviously doing Lamar-esque things. Ravens are winning. Second best team in the AFC right now, behind one and only Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. They lost their last divisional game. I think they bounced back with this one. Give me the Ravens at home, primetime football. Expect a big Derrick Henry game once again. Giants-Panthers in Carolina.
Oh, in Carolina? You mean Munich, Germany. This one's in Germany.
Well, might as well be a home game for the Panthers because I don't think they were really showing up. But last week, Bryce Young did show out. Who's your pick? Munich, Germany.
Yeah, I think this is another one of those coin flip games. Both of these teams seem to be very far away from competing for anything at this point in time. So I'm just pushing my Malik Neighbors propaganda. Need him to go off for fantasy. So give me the Giants.
Well, I'm rocking with the Panthers, man. Bryce Young, he threw some good passes last week, and I know who it was against, but Panthers showed a little bit of something, a little bit of life. The Giants, man, I just got nothing to say for them. They just continue to be the New York Giants and the laughing stock of that NFC East right now, man. I mean, they're not the only one, but definitely getting overshadowed by another team in that division this year so far. But the Giants are abysmal so far this year outside of Malik Neighbors chopping it up with Jaden Daniels mid-game. So, yeah, just give me the Panthers. Coin flip game, you said it. Anyone can really win this one. Give me the Panthers. Pats-Bears in Chicago. Rookie quarterback duel going on here. Who you got?
I'm going to take the Pats here on the road. This is another game. We were talking about the Bears before we started. This Bears team, defensively, they're one of the better units in the league. It's just offensively, there seems to be no direction, no sense of urgency. They have no identity. They don't know what they want to do on offense. Lack of effort on certain plays from some players. The interior of the offensive line, Caleb Williams seems to always be under duress, taking a bunch of sacks. The Cardinals that have literally the worst pass rush in the league sacked Caleb Williams, I think 5 or 6 times last week. So just very weird offensive stuff going there for the Bears. And then for the Patriots, I mean, Drake May went up against one of the better defenses in the league with the Titans. Now, I know they're not a good team, and offensively they're starting Rudolph at quarterback, so that's all you need to know. But defensively, they've been a good unit this year. And Drake May took them to overtime, kind of had the mini Jaden Daniels Hail Mary on from like the 10-yard line. But regardless, I think with Drake May in that offense, this Patriots team can compete against other bad teams. And right now on offense with the Bears, I just don't think they're that good. Now, the Bears defense maybe give the Pats some trouble, but I just think Drake May and his ability to run, create a couple big plays here down the field. This is another one. Like, bro, that's Panthers, Giants, Bears, Pats back-to-back is crazy, bro. Like, both of these games are horrible. This game is another one of those games. Like, it's two bad teams. I could see it going either way, but I'm going to pick Drake May and the Pats here, get the win over Caleb Williams, the number 1 overall pick, and start to see some questions. I don't know. Caleb Williams lost to the number 2 pick. Now does he lose to the number 3 pick? Maybe some controversy there. Regardless, this should be a horrible game, and I wouldn't recommend watching it unless you're a Bears or Patriots fans. Even then, wouldn't recommend it, but yeah, I'll take the pass.
Yeah, man. I don't recall making this pick, and I thought I was laughing pre-show because you said Caleb Williams over Drake May, and I thought you were taking Caleb Williams, but I took Caleb Williams, and I feel like if I change my pick, you want to change your pick for the pick'em, so I'm gonna stick with it.
I wouldn't change it.
Okay, then. Well, I'm going to the Pats, bro, because, yeah, I thought you were taking the Bears, but I don't know what I was thinking last night. Give me the Pats. Yeah, I was laughing at the Bears offense.
Yeah,
pre-show.
That one clip of DJ Moore is like all you need to see. Just walked off the field and sat on the bench mid-play while Caleb Williams is running around scrambling. Like,
yeah, man.
Some questions to answer there. Chicago.
I totally agree. So couldn't put it into better words. Low rating game right here. The NFL wishes they could flex this to 8 a.m. Eastern time probably too, but they can't.
Just all the bad games have them in a bunch of foreign countries, bro.
I'm down with that.
Like, man. This past Bears game, send it to, I don't know, like France or something.
Maybe you should go to Sao Paulo again or something.
Brazil, but then it wouldn't be early, and we'll still see it at night. Like, it has to be in a different time zone, so that way we just miss it. Maybe have like the first Australia game or something.
That would be like the next day, but they probably still line up like middle of the, you know what, bro? Just cancel the game, man. Who cares? Give me the Pats. Niners, Bucks in Tampa Bay, and I'm also changing my pick here. I picked the Niners.
I hate it. I
got the Bucks, man. I was rocking with them last week. Should have won that football game per always against KC. Baker Mayfield getting once again ripped off against Patrick Mahomes. He looked good, man, without Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. They were finding ways. Sterling Shepard was getting involved, getting the tight ends involved. Rashad White out the backfield, catching passes was a factor. It just looked like a good team, all-around team last night against the Chiefs. This Niners team, I got low expectations for them. They really haven't done too much to impress me so far this year when I had them coming out of the NFC, I believe. So give me the Bucks, man. Why not? Upset alert.
I don't hate the Bucks picking. I was thinking about changing it, but I think I'm going to give the Niners a benefit of the doubt. I think this is, kind of one of those turning points similar to what we saw with Philly. A bunch of injuries before the bye week. You get that week, kind of figure things out, and then with the Eagles, they ring off like 4 straight wins. I can see the Niners having a similar run here where coming out of the bye week, reports are saying Christian McCaffrey should be back. He should be playing. Juwan Jennings, he's back, should be playing again. He'll enter that lineup. Debo gets another week to get healthy. Those guys on the offensive line, another week, to get healthy, get things on the same page. And I still believe in that front seven. You got Bosa, all those guys rushing the quarterback. So Baker's going to be under some pressure. And you, out of all people, know how Baker plays under pressure. Not the best. And the infamous footwork comments from you start to come out. But regardless, I do think this is a good game. The Bucs were impressive against the Chiefs last night. Went to overtime, was a lot more competitive than I thought it would be. But I just think the 49ers are a better coach team. Shanahan against this defense. Should have it figured out. I just think we're going to see a different team, a different offense. I think Brock Purdy will play better once you get those guys back healthy. Kittle, another guy who's been kind of banged up, but has been playing really well. He gets healthy. Christian McCaffrey, I think we kind of saw how important he was to this offense. So just any sort of Christian McCaffrey inserted into this offense, I think will make this 49ers team a lot better. So yeah, I'm going to take the 49ers, but I don't hate the Bucks. I think this could be kind of a really good game, but I'm going to give the Niners the benefit of the doubt here, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go on a little run.
Yeah, I don't think Christian McCaffrey is going to help my 3-6 fantasy team much this week, but yeah, shout out to him and all those reports saying he'd be good for week 1. Here I am. Yeah, Chiefs Broncos or Broncos Chiefs, in Kansas City. Another week, another Chiefs dub. Like, is this ever going to end at some point this season? We don't know. Could they be the team to finally go undefeated since the Dolphins did a perfect season, winning it all? But I hope not, man. But I'm still picking the Chiefs. Broncos defense real good. I just don't see anyone. D-Hop catching 2 touchdowns last night. Like, the Chiefs just find ways to plug in someone late in the season, and they got a real good receiver in D-Hop later in his career, but he could still ball. And the Chiefs look like the Chiefs, so give me them in this one.
Yeah, I saw everyone's going crazy over D-Hop. I would pump the brakes just a little bit. He caught like 2 slants, so I mean, there were touchdowns, but I think DeAndre Hopkins is on the latter side of his career. Regardless, it doesn't matter. The Chiefs are going to win this football game. But I think the Broncos divisional matchup, I think it'll be a good matchup. They have a really good defense, so you'll get to see 2 good defenses going at it. Bo Nix has started playing better and better. I mean, they had a chance to win that game in Baltimore if it wasn't that kind of dagger throw by Lamar right before halftime that put him up 2 possessions. It was on 4th down. Bo Nix just missed, I believe it was Cortland Sutton down the sideline for a walk-in touchdown. So the Broncos had opportunities to hang around and be competitive in that game. It's just unfortunate when you're going against a team like Baltimore, who's pretty much playing on all cylinders. They're hitting all their strides. So I think this is a pretty underrated Broncos team. I think it'll be a competitive, close game. But yeah, ultimately the Chiefs just win these games. Like Kareem Hunt rushing for over 100 yards, 27 carries. Like it just makes no sense. I don't know. The Chiefs might not lose a game.
Bills Colts in Indy. I'll let you go ahead.
I'm taking the Bills here. Colts seemed a little underwhelming. All the reports of Joe Flacco saying he was going to start. He's the quarterback that should, prepare, be ready for this kind of defense that we see with the Vikings and Flores, where they bring a bunch of pressures, a bunch of exotic looks. Joe Flacco has seen it all. Well, didn't look like it Sunday night, where Flacco kind of seemed overwhelmed at times in that pocket, and that Minnesota defense kind of took advantage of that and jumped all over him. So I think this Colts team still is a bit of ways, whereas the Bills came down to pretty much a walk-off field goal, competitive with the Dolphins the whole way, and we'll get to the Dolphins. I think they're a little better right now than what their record says and what everyone thinks. But regardless, Josh Allen and this Bills team hitting on all cylinders. Tough loss. Keon Coleman has the wrist injury, so don't know if he'll be playing. But hopefully you get Amari Cooper back and all those weapons. And the Bills, I just think, are one of the better teams right now in the AFC.
Yeah, man. I think with the Colts, I'm taking the Bills. I'm going to start with that. The Vikings, Flores last week did a good job switching up those looks and kind of going to what, Houston did last year in the playoffs against Joe Flacco, forcing those, risky plays. And Joe Flacco, he's going to throw it into tight coverage, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I think he had a fumble and a pick. Wasn't able to get anything really going. I think they had, I don't know how many first downs it was, but it wasn't many. It was tough watching the Colts. Like, you rather have saw Anthony Richardson out there at that point. At least you got him getting those game reps we always talk about he needs. Like, he just doesn't have enough games. Well, Joe Flacco certainly has enough games in his career, and he looked lost out there last week. Um, maybe they could get the run game going. Jonathan Taylor, looking for a little more in Indy out of him, but regardless, the Bills, you mentioned how good of a game they played and honestly should have won it. Keon Coleman dropped a touchdown or a pass that would have brought them inside the 3-yard line early in the game. It turned into a Jalen Ramsey pick, so I think that game could have gotten out of hand pretty quick, but give me the Bills on the road. Steelers, Commanders in Washington. Hate the Steelers. I'm just going to take the Commanders. Jan Daniels been balling. No type of analytics here. Mike Williams traded to the Steelers. Don't think it matters. Commanders and Russ can ride on over at a starting job soon. Calling it. They're going to be calling for Justin Fields end of the season, Steelers fans.
I don't think that's going to happen because as we've seen in the past couple weeks, Russell can actually complete a ball down the field more than 25 to 30 yards, whereas Justin Fields, it kind of seemed like that was his main crutch in his game. And when you have, receivers like George Pickens who wants the big shot down the field to jump up and go get the goal ball, kind of not the quarterback you want. But regardless, we're not here to talk about the Steelers QB depth chart. I'm going to pick the Steelers to win this game. Now, unlike the Giants and Panthers and Pats and Bears, I do think this is a coin flip game similarly, but it's a better game. You have two teams that have been playing winning football, two teams that have been coached really well. Steelers in kind of two opposite teams, two teams where you're going to see their strengths go against each other with the Steelers and how they lean into that defense and how TJ Watt just continues to wreck games, continues to be a playmaker, continues to, just wreak havoc in that Steelers secondary and front seven. Really good at creating turnovers, whereas the Commanders on offense have been one of the most efficient teams. They just score points, whether it's field goals, touchdowns. Jaden Daniels, we've been talking about him since before the season, and I picked him to win Rookie of the Year. Really, really good quarterback, so I think it'll be fun to see those matchups. I think this will be a very good game, a very competitive game. It just comes down to, I think, the other side of the ball where we see the Commanders on defense and Steelers on offense, and I'm going to give the slight edge to the Steelers offense, although that Commanders defense has been playing better as of late, but I just think Russell Wilson and that connection he has down the field with those receivers, we've seen them hang around in the past couple games, whether it was with the Jets or the last game they played against, I forgot who they played, they had a bye week, but regardless, the deep ball kind of seems to be the one that put teams away. Whether it's George Pickens down the field, Calvin Austin, a bunch of those guys have the speed, have the abilities to get down the field and make plays. So I think one or two deep balls from Russ, that signature moon ball everyone talks about, will be the difference here in this game and what should be a really good, a really competitive game. So, yeah, give me the Steelers here on the road.
Yeah, mine was just pure Steelers hate. Don't think it's going to happen, but I'm just kind of hoping for it. Vikings-Jags in Jacksonville. Every time I pick the Jags, they just give me that Jags team that really grinds my gears. Give me the Vikings, man. They stunk up the field. You got Trevor Lawrence throwing jump balls to Dearness Johnson with the game on the line. Give me the Vikings.
Yeah, I think I'm picking the Vikings pretty comfortably here. The Jags, we'll talk about it. Or actually, I won't talk about it. There's not much to say in that game against the Eagles. Other than Nick Sirianni pretty much just made sure that Doug Peterson keeps his coaching job for the next couple weeks, whereas that game was a rout. The Eagles were up 22-0. It looked like it was about to be the game where everything just changed, and we all know the outcome. Eagles won another walk-off pick. But regardless, the Vikings, that defense, Sam Darnold, it looks legit. Sam Darnold, he's still Sam Darnold. He's going to throw interceptions. He's going to make some boneheaded plays. He's still going to take sacks. But when you look at the weapons around him, Justin Jefferson still producing as the number one receiver in the league. Aaron Jones comes in, gives him a good burst. They traded for the left tackle from the Jags, so you lose your starting left tackle. You bring in another really good one, Cam Robinson. He was solid last night against the Colts. So, and that defense, like Brian Flores, like we mentioned, they're just going to create turnovers, make it really, really tough for quarterbacks. And yeah, the Jags just haven't been a good team at all this season. So I think the Vikings won a pretty easy one here. I'm taking Minnesota.
Yeah. Falcons Saints in New Orleans. maybe the Saints get a little life after firing Dennis Allen, but I don't think so. They're so bad. Once again, it's like kind of like this Vikings-Jags game. I think the Falcons win this one pretty comfortably, man. Derek Carr has gotten Dennis Allen fired twice now in his career on two different teams in almost 2 different decade apart, I think. Exactly, actually. Yeah, give me Atlanta, man, pretty comfortably.
Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons here as well. Derek Carr has also became the first quarterback to lose to 30 teams in the NFL.
31.
Oh, 31, yeah. And he plays the Raiders later on this year, so he has the chance to do something pretty special there. Regardless, you mentioned it, the Saints, and me and you were kind of on this. We were pumping the brakes the first couple weeks. We wanted to see it more. I'm not believing in Derek Carr and the Saints. I just refuse to, even though they started off.
I think you kind of agreed on after week 2. You said they're the best team in the NFL, man. I'm gonna have to pull out that hot.
There's no way I was believing in Derek Carr and the Saints. Oh. I could maybe their offense was solid, but best team. I don't know if he was going that far.
Maybe it was just the NFC South, but
yeah, maybe the NFC South. But regardless, give me the Falcons.
Speaking of just watching absolute garbage play, a team that should easily win this game, the Titans play the Chargers in LA. Just mentioned Mason Rudolph and how awful he is. The Chargers just got one of the easiest wins, I think, against the Browns, forcing Jameis Winston to turn the ball over 3 times, 3 interceptions, and honestly, the 2 easiest touchdowns the defense could ever give up, and Justin Herbert's probably ever thrown in his life on 2 blown coverages. But we're not here to talk about them. They're on the bye. Give me the Chargers pretty comfortably here.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers as well. Defense stepped up, like you mentioned, in over the past couple weeks. The Chargers have been throwing the ball a lot more, and Justin Herbert is looking like the Justin Herbert of old, or the Justin Herbert that I've always believed that he has been. Throwing the ball all over the place, deep ball, play action, and then J.K. Dobbins in that run game, a nice complementary piece. I think the Chargers are a pretty solid team. I think they'll make some noise down the stretch. So, yeah, I'm taking the Chargers here as well.
Finally, I think this is a decent matchup after what we saw last week from both teams. Jets, Cardinals in Arizona. I think this one could be a good one, man. And Kyler Murray once again being, I wouldn't even say he's beating the allegations of Call of Duty. He didn't play too well. The Cardinals played good football. I expect them to play better this week against this Jets teams that's had their struggles this year, but they came out on Thursday night after not scoring a whole point the first half and coming back. Garrett Wilson making 2 incredible catches for touchdowns, and Devontae Adams getting involved, and the running backs both getting involved in the second half. It was good to see for a Jets fan, but it took until the second half for them to do something. This Cardinals team, they're frisky, man. You don't know which version you're going to get. They're all in. I think they got, wasn't sure who it was off the top of my head, but they got a little edge rusher.
I think, yeah, I forgot. I think from the Broncos or something.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, really.
But they finally add someone to this defense that we also said that has one name on it, and that's it. So they're looking to make a playoff push, man. I can't hate it. Give me the Cardinals at home.
Yeah, the Cardinals are actually leading the NFC West right now, I believe, at 5-4. So, yeah, division leader Cardinals. The playoffs started today. They'd be the 4th seed. I totally agree with you. I think this will be a pretty good matchup. Goes both ways. I think the Jets, for this team, I think they could finally be turning the corner. You know, the offense and what we thought we'd see from this team, I mean, it took 9 weeks in the second half of that game in week 9 to finally see some life and see Aaron Rodgers hitting those receivers down the field, making the big plays. So it might be just a tad bit too late in terms of actually making a run and being a competitive team down the stretch in the playoffs. But I think for the time being that they can be a pretty competitive team and win some close games. And I think this is a good matchup. You mentioned Kyler Murray didn't have his best game, but they were able to run the ball, and that's what the Cardinals want to do here, is be able to run the ball with those backs and kind of just play complementary defense. Whereas the Jets, although they do have Breece Hall and Braylon Allen's been really good, I think they're at their best when they're throwing the ball, sprinting out, stretching the field with those weapons on the outside, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams. two of the best receivers in the league, playmakers. So I think this will be a fun game. Maybe we see a bunch of points scored here. A lot of, fantasy implications. Hopefully you start those players on these teams in this game. But I'm going to go here with the Jets, kind of just picking against you, letting those picks, trying to catch up and tie the record. But it could go either way. But I do like the Jets in this one.
Yeah, I don't hate it, man. It's a coin flip game here. Speaking of games that should not be a coin flip, your Eagles play in Jerry's World in the Cowboys, and Cooper Rush is going to see the field. So I'm not going to do too much talking. This is your Eagles team. Sure, you got it all for me. Smitty, look good, man. You don't even need A.J. Brown. I keep telling you, just keep throwing it to my boy Smitty. Even though fantasy season's over, I don't like losing either way, man. Cowboys, I think they might get Micah back, or
yeah, I think
that's about all they got going for them. So give me the Eagles.
Who you taking, man? Smitty or Jalen Waddle?
Oh, Jalen Waddle.
Oh, you're still taking Jalen Waddle over Devontae Smith? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to see where you at.
Nah, it's more so the Dolphins system, but yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to say too much about this Eagles game or this Eagles team about what happened last week with the Jags. I'm just going to repeat what I've always said on this show, and what I always say is, once again, the talent overcame the coaching on this team, and they were able to win. And a little bit of the rest. We saw some questionable play calls down the stretch. First one that comes to mind is the Saquon Barkley fumble that was returned for a touchdown. It was clearly down by contact. It was clearly hit in the leg, which caused him to trip and step on the Eagles offensive lineman and eventually falling and fumbling. So missed call there. But regardless, that shouldn't have mattered. They shouldn't have been in this position. But Nick Sirianni is the head coach, and I can go on and on about how bad he is and what he needs to fix, but we're not going to do that here. A little stat for you. The Eagles haven't won in Dallas since 2017, the Super Bowl year. So maybe Eagles get a win here in Dallas. Do we see a similar outcome? Probably not. I don't trust this coach in any big game situations. If Dak Prescott was playing and this Cowboys team was fully healthy, I'd probably end up picking the Cowboys. But regardless, it's Cooper Rush, a banged up CeeDee Lamb. Not really much else going there for this Dallas team. Maybe you get Micah back, but
no, they got fleece for who? What receiver they just get?
Jonathan Mingo, yeah. 4th round pick for Mingo in the 7th. Doesn't really matter.
I mean,
regardless, this Cowboys team
that's bad.
And Jerry Jones definitely have some looking in the mirror to do. Whereas the Eagles, hopefully they can just continue to get healthy. A.J. Brown just missed a serious injury, considered day-to-day with a minor knee. It looked pretty bad during the game. But regardless, this Eagles team should definitely be able to take care of business on the road against Dallas. But I'm sure Nick Sirianni will find a way to make it somewhat close. But give me the Eagles in a good one.
Yeah, they traded away Amari Cooper for less than Jonathan Mingo. Browns got more in return for Cooper. That's saying a lot considering the historically bad contract they got. So just a little Cowboys hate right there because I got nothing else going on. Lions, Texans in Houston. They just I thought the little rain would affect Jared Goff and the Lions a little bit, but yeah. First game outside the dome and Jared Goff just destroyed my pick of the Packers last week. Jordan Love banged up. He didn't look like himself at all out there last week, but this Lions team just continues to impress every aspect of football. Defense creating plays when they need to. The offense just being explosive. The two-headed monster in the backfield, and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff, their connection, I think, is 31 straight completions when Amon-Ra's targeted or something like that. Crazy stat from Jared Goff and that duo, so just give me the Lions, man.
Yeah, this Lions team, you can just pretty much just look for any stat and it'll be crazy. Like another crazy Lions stat is I think since like week 3, they have more total touchdowns than Jared Goff has incompletions. Some ridiculous number. Like efficiency-wise, this offense is off the charts. What they're able to do. Defense, they're always playing with the lead. They're able to make big plays, and they also make some really good special teams plays as well. So playing really good, all 3 phases, executing really well. I'm picking Detroit here as well on the road, but I would I'm just saying, the Texans at home are a different team. Nico Collins is back off of IR. We know how explosive this offense can get when Nico's in the lineup. No Stephon Diggs for the rest of the year, which is tough, but you saw what Tank Dell was able to do as a receiver one last week, and we kind of saw towards the end of last year when Tank Dell got back. Well, before he got injured, Nico Collins stepped in as that number one. That 1-2 punch can be really explosive, and I think an unsung hero of this season has been Joe Mixon for this offense. Like, that run game and what they're able to do, they're running all over the place. So, back fully healthy, the offensive line still scares me, especially with that Detroit front seven. You don't have Hutchinson, so obviously it'll be a little bit easier there, but weapons are coming back for CJ Stroud at home. They look a lot better. It's kind of how it's been the last couple of years for CJ Stroud. They've been a lot better at home than they have on the road. So I think this will be a good game. That Lions defense tends to give up some passing yards. We've seen some teams have some success on them. So as long as you just hang around, I think the Texans have a chance to win, but this Lions team, they just looking like the best team in football right now. Like I mentioned, they're getting it done on all three phases of football. So I expect this to be a really good game. A perfect primetime game. But yeah, give me the Lions in a close one.
Yeah, they also got Zadarius Smith from the Browns today.
Yeah.
Not a bad pickup. I think he's a great leader, great locker room guy. Can make a couple plays here and there, but a little over budget on his contract this year. But shout out Cleveland for that one. That's their fault. Dolphins, Rams in LA. Man, the Dolphins, you talked about how their record isn't as good as they are. And they find ways to just really, really get my gears going because they continue to not switch things up when needed to. They're able to get stuff going in the second half when both offenses were scoring back to back to back, just going back and forth, blow for blow. Just give me the Rams here. They didn't play good last week. Puka got ejected early, still able to win against the Seahawks, 100 and whatever yard pick six, to take the lead in the end zone from Geno Smith, and the Rams able to close that game out. So I think the Rams, they're frisky and fun, man. I like to watch them, and the Dolphins, they're frisky and not fun to watch, and I'm a fan of them. So give me the Rams at home in LA, Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Dolphins here, but I totally agree with everything you said. Another one of those picks where trying to catch you in the rankings. But I think this Rams team can legit make some noise down the stretch. Your pick of Jared Verse is looking better and better for Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's like every week he just seems to be making big plays for that defense. And then offensively, this might be like bias or something, but I don't know if there's a better like QB to system fit than Matthew Stafford in that Rams offense and what McVay wants him to do. Like, there's a bunch of good quarterbacks, 100%, but just in terms of scheme-wise and Stafford and what he does well, which is, driving the ball down the field, it always seems like Puka or Cooper Kupp are wide open on those backside digs over the middle or the deep outs. And then, you got Demarcus Robinson, who's like just a touchdown machine now out of nowhere. Shout out to the Gators. But regardless, I think this will be a really good game. And the Dolphins, I think you got to give them some credit. You mentioned that Bills game should have been over a lot earlier with the interception that Ramsey caught on the 3-yard line. But you got to give the Dolphins credit driving the ball down 97 yards and scoring a touchdown and capitalizing on that mistake. So good teams tend to do that, capitalize on mistakes. I'm not saying this Dolphins is a good team, but I do think they're competitive. A-Chain has played out of his mind every single game. Tua has been the quarterback. So he's talk about offensive player of the year. Yeah. Like, if Tua's been healthy this entire season, what he's on pace for is like ridiculous. I think he's on pace for like 1,000 and 1,000 in terms of Tua being there at quarterback. So he's been really, really good. And then you still have those two dominant receivers on the outside. Haven't really been able to get them going yet this year, but with Tua back there as the season goes on, they continue to stay healthy. I think there's a chance. I like this Dolphins team. I think they're frisky. So I'm going to pick them here on the road, but I do also I like the Rams just as much. So definitely another one of those games where coin flip game. It can go either way. I feel like we say this every week, but it's the NFL. It's a lot of good teams. But I'm gonna pick the Miami here on the road.
Yeah, there's really no playoff aspirations. This one I'm just hoping for a better draft pick at this point. I don't know, man. Rough NFL season for me, wise, watching and enjoying it. Enjoy good games. Enjoy other teams losing at this point, but watching my team, just both of them, two of them, lose is sickening. But I only might have to watch one this week, and it's in prime time, so I get to enjoy that one for sure. Let's go wrap up our Week 10 NFL pick'ems, man. You got any other comments, takes, topics?
No, that's pretty much it. Well, oh no, we did the Dodgers one 2 weeks ago. We mentioned that last episode. Yeah. Oh, if we didn't, go Dodgers. And NBA's back. Cleveland. Looking good. Undefeated. Yeah.
OKC 7-0. I think those are the only last two undefeated teams left.
Mm-hmm.
It might be one more, but a couple other teams dropped the one game either a few nights ago. And once again, the Miami Heat, third quarter. I don't know what it is about this team. They just can't find a way to play half-decent ball in the third quarter. But maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe they won't.
Oh, and also, I did come on this podcast and say a couple weeks ago before the season started, I was all in on the Magic. Since then, Paulo tore his oblique and is going to be out for a couple months. I'm out on the Magic. Not rooting for him anymore.
Franz.
Franz, yeah. No, Jalen sucks. He's been hooping.
I wonder why.
Still up.
Suggs. Oh, man. Who's your what? You going to go with the new team already?
No, I'm just gonna be a free agent, like I've always been. Just enjoy the NBA.
Nah, you did say someone else to me the other day, though.
Who? What team?
I don't know, man.
No, it was the Magic, but right now they're like no Paulo. They're not a good team. The Heat, bro. Heat culture. Sabonis, man, killed them boys in the fourth game winner.
Yeah, it's just nothing new from that Heat squad. So
whoever signs John Wall is who I'll be a fan of.
All right, man. This is one of the shorter podcasts, and I think we just went a little too long for you today. Go to Go episode 101. Go to Go pod on TikTok. Go to Go everything streaming wise. And until next week, man, we'll be back with another episode. Peace.